We are back. Slam Pigs Union Smack. Yes, the hiatus is over. We are back full force once again. Alongside me, as always, the Maniac. Welcome back, Matt Tennant. How you been? How was your week? And where can everyone catch you?
Well, you can catch me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can find all of our stuff merchandise-wise. There'll be a lot added. unionsmack.bigcartel.com. Hibiki TND shirts come in mid-July. Thank you to Rocky for that. And I've not been bad, Travis, you know. It's been a good week. I rejoined Wrestle Talk as an editor/writer this week. That's all going well. It does seem about a year since we did the UK tournament review. You know, just the length of the week that's been. It seems about a year since we last did this, but yeah, it's good to be back.
It is. It's great to be back. As always, by the way, follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. Hit the subscribe down below. And yes, Matt is once again. If you guys follow Wrestle Talk TV on Twitter, if you see one of those nice little thumbnails, it's Matt. Matt's the man behind the plan. So congrats, man. That's awesome. And thanks for adding me to the little article on the Wrestle Talk site today.
Pleasure.
Not much in the news though this time, Matt. Let's go.
No, not much. But I think, Travis, we should kick off this show with our big giveaway announcement.
It is July. It is time.
People... Carry on.
No, that's it. Go ahead, man. Tell everybody about Rocky's Rambunctious Giveaway. What's what we'll name it?
And that's its official name. Hashtag that on Twitter. So, like we said last time around, Rocky is sponsoring the show, and he's going to send, or he's going to pay for, one of you, whoever you are, to get a T-shirt. Union Smack T-shirt to start with. But all you have to do is from this week until the end of September, I believe he said. So it's going to be a monthly thing. So the next 4 of these shows up to the end of July, you have to listen out for a keyword. We're going to drop a keyword into the episode. It's going to be there a few times, so listen for it. And then just sort of DM either me or Travis on Twitter. Don't put it in the comments below because everyone will be copying it. So you send it privately to us by Twitter, and then if you get it right, you'll be entered into the draw for this month's giveaway. And that's it, Travis. What could be simpler?
Not a lot, and that's right. This episode officially kicks off Rocky's Rambunctious Giveaway. Listen in this episode and every episode on now until September for the keyword. Shoot us in the DMs and Twitter. You could find yourself with your very own free Union Smack shirt. It's that simple.
It is.
Excited.
And we should say, Travis, it's going to be a different keyword each week. Like you don't have to listen to hear it every week. So this week's keyword will be different to next week's even.
And thank you again, Rocky, as always, for all the love and support you've shown us in the show.
Yes.
And to you guys, the listeners, keep buying those shirts and all the goodness. But yeah, back to the matter at hand. Slow news week. Not a lot UK-wise to talk. I think the biggest one is what took place last night. It was already, the NXT tapings have been in the books. Everyone has known this for the sport. But officially it aired. Mustache Mountain dropped the belts last night to Undisputed Era, Matt, on NXT.
Yeah. Expected. I mean, I don't think Triple H was going to keep the titles on them for too long. It was more of a big pop, nice feel on the night at the Albert Hall thing. And it was, it gave everyone a good kick. Everyone loved the result. Huge reaction. But I just wish they'd give them a bit more time, Travis. Just a little bit more time, because they are a good team. And would it have really hurt Undisputed Era to go until TakeOver, which is what, 4-ish weeks away?
Yeah, something like that.
4 weeks without the titles is nothing. Rematch at TakeOver, and then done, But I think one of the main reasons is probably because we've got the first set of UK tapings coming in 2 weeks' time at the end of July. So maybe Triple H is looking to add the UK titles immediately and didn't want the sort of NXT tag team titles to cloud the scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it was also another way. It was a cheap way to get some new eyes on Mustache Mountain. Like, who are these guys with the belts? For fans that weren't aware, and those eyes would transition to the new UK show, like you said. So I think that's totally why they want him so fast. I feel like they should have at least built up the takeover as well. Why not? Just have Undisputed get it back. But now, I mean, you could set up Mustache Mountain possibly winning it back, but who knows? I mean, the tag team division in NXT, besides maybe War Raiders, I can't see any team really stepping up and taking those belts off the air at any time. Only Lorcan out with he just had orbital socket surgery, right?
He did, yes.
Yeah. Hope
Yeah,
he gets well soon.
out 6 months, I think he's going to be out, is the current prognosis.
Right, so really you got War Raiders and what? Street Profits? Those are your two teams besides Mustache, I would say.
Yeah, and plus, what have them two teams done, Travis? Like, I can probably fully see a rematch coming up. See, the thing is, we don't know when these UK tapings are airing, you know? So we don't know yet whether they're coming before SummerSlam / Takeover, which would mean, you know, Moustache Mountain could win a number one contenders match, you know, before and then go to Takeover and win compete for the titles, just like Pete Dunne did before Takeover Chicago last year at that UK taping. We don't know. You know, they've been very clever of saying these are when the tapings are UK-wise, but not these are when you'll see them. So right now, everything's up in the air. For Takeover, I would probably say War Machine right now over Street Profits, but...
Yeah, me too. But then you take the risk of, I mean, sorry, my kid's running upstairs. They're probably the most, shit kicker, red hot team right now. Do you want them to just lose already to Undisputed Era? Do you want to keep Undisputed Era just losing the belts every month? You know what I mean? They found themselves in kind of a pickle with this, I feel like.
Yeah, they have. I'd probably say, if that's the way we're looking at it, Moustache Mountain can take another loss, and then they can probably build that into the NXT UK tag team scene. But again, Travis, like we said, we don't know when we're going to see this. So it's no good them turning around and saying Moustache Mountain won a number one contenders match, because everyone will turn around and go, well, when? We need to see it.
Yeah. Yep. Either way, I feel like Pete Dunne will at least defend the UK belt on the biggest takeover show of the year. Why not? I mean, you got a new brand. Expose it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath out right now. I'd like to see him back on NXT TakeOver, but who against? Like, are WWE really going to take the chance of bringing over a UK guy, like Zach Gibson, with not knowing really whether the American audience watched the UK tournament as a whole, or, I don't know. You could have him defend it against an American NXT talent. You could have him defend it against Danny Burch. I'd be quite happy with that.
There's your weekly Danny Burch fix, guys. They took that same risk, I feel like, last year with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, though, and that match was praised. Everybody loved that match in the arena, the viewers, and they took a risk about people not knowing, both of those guys, and it panned out well. I feel like it could still work. Also, Noam Dar's your number one contender right now. That's not the guy I put on TakeOver against Pete Dunne. That's just me.
No.
That's the guy maybe like the first episode airs, that's your first title match on there, and Pete Dunne goes over. Since he's on 205 Live now, by the way, Noam Dar last week debuted, returning as a babyface on 205 Live and a heel in UK NXT. So it's really weird with Noam Dar. Totally not babyface material for me. I know he was a babyface in ICW for a while and Rev Pro and all that shit, but for me, just such a better heel.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I've never really been a Noam Dar fan. I like him in the ring. He's good, proficient, technically, sound. But I feel with Noam Dar, like, he's one of them wrestlers who's lost. If they don't put him on the UK brand permanently, like, what's he doing in 205 Live? Like, he's not beating Cedric Alexander for the title anytime soon. But at the same time, he's not beating Pete Dunne for the UK title anytime soon.
Right. So you
To
find
be
yourself in
honest,
like Alex Wright territory from WCW, and he kind of looks like him. And Alex Wright was kind of blessed with heel mannerisms in a way that Noam Dar is. Noam Dar, Alex Wright, The Miz all have one thing in common: they all have that face. When you see it, you just want to punch it repeatedly. Something about the way Noam Dar just stares off into space reminds me of Kerry Von Erich, and I want to punch it, Matt. I want to punch that face. Make him a
but then
heel.
a lot of guys had that face, Travis, throughout history. Like Paul Roma, Hercules. A lot of these guys had that face that you just wanted to keep hitting them. It doesn't
Hercules
matter how
was a
much they
teddy bear.
bled.
How dare you sully the name of Hercules? I want to hug Hercules. I didn't want to punch him.
You wanted to hug him with that chain on.
He's a big old galoosh. Anyway, yeah, you did shoot me a picture of Pete Dunne tributing Vader too in the Vader attire, which was amazing. I loved it.
Wasn't that a lovely little singlet? For people who haven't seen it, we'll try and get the picture up on screen for you now. But basically, it was a Vader suit. It cut off usually at the crotch, like he usually does, but it was red and black. He had Bruiserweight, where it would usually have Vader, and he wore it to defend the... I can't even remember what tag team titles they are now, Travis. Pro Wrestling Revolver tag team titles with Millie McIntosh, Mackenzie.
Millie McKenzie.
I'm on form this week, and I can't even remember people's names. And yeah, and do you know what? It's not just a great. It was a great picture, because I'm taking to Millie McKenzie a lot, and I think, hoping, fingers crossed, that she's going to be in the Mae Young Classic next month. And if she is, Travis, fuck it, we'll review her through that as well, because she's a good little talent, and I really like her.
Speaking of the Mae Young Classic, the first official competitor was announced yesterday. I mean, nobody saw this coming. Caitlyn is coming back. Yippee, I guess.
And Rhea Ripley was announced today.
There you go.
As well.
So
whoop whoop.
Talk about night and day competitors. But yeah, I get it.
Do you think she's going to win it?
Who, Rhea Ripley?
No, Caitlyn.
Hell no. No way. No way in hell, Kate. It's just a chance. She's a name. We need some credibility in there, I guess. But in-ring wise, let's say it. She seems like a nice girl, but was always the shits in the ring for me. She was that last era from the revolving door of fitness models and, just pretty girls out there pretending to be a wrestler until the, quote, women's revolution started with, like, Emma and Paige and all that stuff. She was like the last guard, in a way, with AJ Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she was. And against AJ Lee were her best matches, arguably. I can't ever remember another Caitlyn match that ever comes to mind, and I'm trying to sit here and recall one now, but stuff against AJ Lee was probably the highlight of her in-ring career.
I'm sure there's a red-hot feud with Brie Bella we're forgetting or something. That's awesome. Let's take a little break. Okay, when we come back, we're going to do it. No files corrupting. I wish it was the file to corrupt on the show we got to review this week, but no, I'm sure it'll be all there. UK Rampage 93, voted on by you guys when we come back. Stick around. Slam Pigs Union Smack. Don't miss that.
I'm the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, and you're listening to the Union Smack podcast.
We are back right here, Slam Pigs Union Smack. It is time. Weekly retro review. Oh boy, you guys, the listeners, you did it again. I thought you put us through some pits, some dungeons before the review, but this might take the cake this time. What did the listeners vote for in the poll for us to go back to this week, Matt?
Our lovely people gave us UK Rampage 93, which I watched this, Travis, maybe a year and a bit ago, before we started Union Smack, initially anyway. And I don't remember this event being this bad. Like, when I watched this, I had to take a minute to think, did I watch the same event, or am I imagining it? But no, it was the same event, and wow.
Maybe the first time you watched it, your Feeling pretty good. Maybe on some baby boy substance. No, I'm just kidding. Matt doesn't do that. But yeah, I don't know what you thought you saw the first time, but Jesus God. This event, UK Rampage 93, takes place from Sheffield, England, Matt. Literally
Yeah.
exactly a week after maybe the worst WrestleMania of all time, besides 11.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 9.
And just think, everybody remembers WrestleMania 9. All the feuds, good or bad, let people make their own minds up. Coming out of WrestleMania 9, you had Luger Perfect, you had Bret Hart, Yokozuna, you had Beefcake Hogan versus Money Inc., Tatanka, Shawn Michaels. You had Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez. I didn't like the feud, but my God. And this show, Travis, was a show, I think you'll agree, was devoid of any storyline, any interest, any feuds.
It had
Just
two storylines. It still was doing the Perfect and Narcissist thing and the Duggan and Yoko thing, but besides that, a house show, straight up.
with a lot of random matches. And when we say random, we don't just mean like, superstar matches like DiBiase versus Mr. Perfect caliber. No. This was WWE emptied out their roster, and the shit that fell out the bottom got put on this card. Like there's, with the exception of Mr. Perfect, because I don't want Travis to shout at me, there is no star quality, star names on this roster in a in-ring capacity at all. Like, there's no Undertaker, there's no Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Money Inc., no Razor Ramon. And do you know what really, before we get into the actual card, Travis, just to set the scene for people, what annoyed me most out of this is that all through the evening, we would hear Jim Ross, who still had that wonderful classic WCW voice back in '93.
Yeah.
We would hear him and Bobby Heenan go on about, Luger and Perfect and a few other feuds. They're going to settle their scores in a few nights in London. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Why couldn't you have taped that event then?
Yeah. And they sold it on home video after it. People actually bought it. And yes, that was the commentary team, you're right. It was 93 JR, little babyface JR here with Bobby Heenan. Has Jim Ross ever come off more complacent and not wanting to be somewhere calling an event than this? And I've seen JR call some shitty ass shows, but man, did he phone it in on this. And who could blame him?
Yeah, who could blame him?
At least Bobby, to his credit, he always tried, I feel like. And that's why Bobby is always one of the greats. He would always take chicken shit, try to turn it into chicken salad. He tried to get his one-liners in on this, but man, when you have nothing to work with, it's impossible to get anything over. Not even the brain could get some of these matches over.
Shall I tell you who was more complacent than Jim Ross on this card?
Lord Alfred Hayes?
Yes.
How did I know?
We hadn't even discussed that beforehand. Oh my God, how bad was he? It's like, why did they employ him in 1993? It's like, why? All of his backstage interviews were just awkward, looking at the cameras. Like, he's been given a script, but he's not bothered to look at it.
I don't know when the man was first employed in WWF, but I don't think he ever had a line in any segment he didn't botch or stumble over. Ever. Even in his prime with Saturday Night's Main Event going on safaris with Mean Gene, in pre-tapes, he'd still fuck up his lines, and they'd keep it.
Yeah.
Why was this man employed? You're right. Besides promotional consideration paid for by the following, Alfred Hayes brought nothing to professional wrestling shows. Nothing.
Nope, I agree. And he's got some, one or two botches on this card as well. Did you catch at the moment? And we'll get to the actual match in a minute, where he was interviewing Doink the Clown, and he goes, "Back to you, Gorilla," and he goes back to Bobby and he goes, "Gorilla's not here."
And you know what? They thought so little of this home video release, didn't even bother to edit it out and do a reshoot. They just kept it in.
Oh.
Here's something else that really drove me up the walls batshit crazy. I don't know if this was the original loop musically or it's something WWE loves to splice in their generic, jazz music over. But the intro to this little highlight, the dent, 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 it was driving me insane by the end of the show. It just kept happening. It literally like 15 times, I feel like, this little music video popped up in between segments.
It was just another just another example of like we don't give a fuck. Just put any old music on and replay it through the show. Like I feel like from that music video, the links, the backstage interviews, which were just terrible, the booking of the card, I feel like this was just give them anything, you know. And I've heard some fans, Travis, say that when WWF/E come over here, you know, we get the best of the tours. Really? Watch this show and then come back to us, because this will make you lose all faith in humanity.
Well, let's roll up our sleeves, Matt. Let's do it. What did this show, UK Rampage 93, kick off with?
We kicked off with the first of many singles matches, Travis. Not a tag match on the card, we have to add. First of many singles matches. Head Shrinker Fatu versus Brian Knobbs from the Nasty Boys. And do you know what? Why not make this a tag team match like we were saying? Nasty Boys versus Head Shrinkers. Made much more sense, and it'd have probably been 10 times as more interesting and entertaining as this, because my God, it was like, was it me, or did Knobbs look like he'd had about 10 pints before he come out?
Oh yeah, with the whole Brian Knobbs bullshit he does. He was out there acting like he was Ric Flair. He was just soaking it all in. And I feel like in his mind, Terry had the belt again, brother, and he was one of Terry's closest confidants or boys backstage. Maybe he thought this was the beginning of a singles push in the company. Who knows?
Ooh,
I'll say one thing about you
optimism.
guys. God bless the UK fans of the early mid-90s. Even though you guys are given matches like this, Typhoon and Brooklyn Brawler, like we'll see earlier, you guys at least gave it a chance and seemed into every match on the card. You guys were starved, like we always say over there. You really were. And this show is a prime example of how starved you guys really were for seeing WWF over there at the time.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the reactions some of these wrestlers got, just ridiculously popular, when back in the States they'd have probably been met with silence. Honestly, we've said it before, it was just like, oh, thank fuck, some wrestling over here, I can see it live. And honestly, the quality of the card didn't matter back then. It was just the fact that we got to see, some people / wrestlers that we'd been watching on TV.
And when that happens, guys like Brian Knobbs get a reaction like the Road Warriors coming out. Hell, Paul Rumley would be treated like Hogan in the 80s on this show, probably,
Yes, yeah, that is true.
My God, but
my God.
The match, Fatu always a great worker for a bigger man, I feel like, a hard-hitting style. No discredit to Fatu, because a carpenter's only as good as the tools he has to work with. A drunk Brian Knobbs isn't what I want to pull out of my tool belt any day. The match is what it was. It was a slop fest, just a big waste of time out of the gate. Nothing I'd rather open a show up with, Matt.
Correct. I didn't time this, Travis, but I actually do think they spent about 2 weeks just riling up the crowd. That's how it felt. It was like, it was relentless.
Yeah.
Crowd going. Might have been longer than the actual match. I'm not sure.
I noticed that too. I'm like, are they going to lock up today, or?
Yeah. And why from behind does Fatu look like an old Samoan housewife?
I don't know, but I'm not going to unsee that now. So thanks for ruining Fatu for me, man.
When he walks towards Brian Knobbs in this match, and I'm possibly going to go back and watch some old Head Shrinkers matches now just to see if it's the same. He looks like an old Samoan housewife who's going to go and put some ribs on the barbecue or something. Like, it's off-putting. It is off-putting. And so was Afa's face outside. How many times do you need to cut to this bloke just pulling fucking stupid, ridiculous faces, which I have to say were more entertaining than the match, so why am I complaining?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad they did, because that was the highlight of the match, were Afa's face. Official result, Matt.
The official result was Fatu win, but what a fucking terrible ending. Like, it come out of nowhere. Knobbs charges Fatu in the corner, boot to the face, Fatu hooks his feet on the ropes, victory. Just like that, out of nowhere. It set the night up perfectly, didn't it, really? This was just like a don't give a fuck victory. Get in, get out, get paid. Let's get on to the next town where it actually might matter.
And just like that, the hopes and dreams of a Knobbs singles run died in Sheffield, England.
They were born and died in Sheffield, England.
It was that fast and simple. They tried to pick it up from here. Where did they go to next, Matt, on UK Rampage?
We went. Oh dear! If you could tell by our thumbnail for this week's episode, it doesn't get any better because we went to Doink versus Kamala. And before people get on Doink, I think he was a fucking terrific heel.
I do too.
But for what he had to work with, which, let's be honest, wasn't a lot, they give him a clown gimmick and some creepy music for, a few months maybe, before they turned him face after SummerSlam 93.
Yeah.
You know, Matt, I can't remember his name. Oh my God.
Matt Bourne.
Oh, no, Matt Bourne, that's it. I'm having a nightmare tonight. Matt Bourne he made the best of it. And Doink, possibly one of the scariest images from my childhood. It's like, I remember, Travis, little story. People probably won't care, but I'll tell it anyway. I was 6 at this point. Yeah. And the WrestleMania stuff with Crush had just happened. So it was a little before this. Do you remember the episode of Superstars where Doink took off his cast and smashed Crush over the head with it?
Absolutely.
That was on late night here in England, and my mum wouldn't let me watch it so late at night. I think there was school the next day or something. But I remember creeping downstairs and watching it, and then not being able to sleep that night. It was that. It's like the way he laughed, the look of him,
the music,
and honestly, the music and the way Matt Bourne carried himself, in the outfit. It wasn't like a happy, smiley face Doink of '94. It was a creepy. This clown is going to get into your room at night and he will kill you.
I'm going to stand on the front of the ship and hold my arms open like Leonardo DiCaprio and get ready to take all the shit from you guys listening. I still say it to this day. If Matt Bourne could have kept on the straight and narrow, not had the demons, and would have been employed, and they would have never changed the Doink character, we would talk about it today like it was one of the greatest heel characters of all time. Because it was. It had so much potential if they would have kept it this creepy. Who's more terrified of anything than fucking clowns, man? It worked.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Even though Matt Bourne had his demons and didn't, and would be gone by the end of '93, I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah.
He's Doink the Clown pre-'94 is still, for me, one of the greatest heels in professional wrestling.
Yep.
Honestly, it's like, you can never beat your childhood, Travis, all the memories, so fuck it.
Yeah, I feel like even if we would see that character now done right, the Matt Bourne style, it could still work. I think it could still get great heel heat. And it's just a shame. And it just, when they made a babyface, it was everything wrong with wrestling at the time. One of those characters, your Duke Joseys, your Doinks, your TL Hoppers, it just fell into that category. And it was a shame. And, it's no discredit. I know Steve Kern and a couple guys. I don't know the guy that donned the Doink gimmick, the actual name of the guy with Dink that pretty much carried that run. I mean, he did the best he could, but you can only do, so much with what you're given. So it's no discredit to the performer.
Didn't Steve Lombardi do it?
At least 3 or 4 guys, I feel like, donned the makeup.
Yeah, I'm sure the Brooklyn Brawler was one of them.
But this match, Kamala and Doink, not the first time these two locked up. They actually had a match a couple weeks before on Raw, right? But just ended in Kamala opening a present and getting sad because there's nothing in it and chasing Doink with a chair. And that was that. But here, this match actually had crowd heat behind it because Kamala was treated like Bret the Hitman Hart on the entrance match. My God.
Oh, my God. I can't believe how popular this man was. And, I don't know. I'm lost for words with Kamala because he was a terrible wrestler.
Yeah.
He was atrocious in the ring. But there is something about him, babyface Kamala, that you want to hug.
He's like a pet, like a dog or something, like a dumb dog. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. That's how the babyface Kamala carried. Oh, he doesn't know any better. Type. You know what I mean? And by this time, Kamala was definitely a shell. He could actually work in his world-class days with the Von Erichs and Memphis. But this was obviously a decade and a half later. He's seen better days. Sadly, now Kamala with the amputations and stuff, which isn't funny.
Yeah.
No. This match, I've never been so lost on how to go about reviewing a match. Psychology-wise, with what they were trying to do, a fail. And ring-wise, a fail.
Fail.
I guess spectacle, maybe a pass, but Jesus Christ, Kamala and Doink, what do you really have to work with here?
And if you honestly, this match will be like, this will be a mega Okada for you if you love arm bars and chops, because that's all there really was.
And scared kicks.
It was slow. When it's slow, it was like I thought I had it on really slow pause going forward. Did you ever have one of them VHS players when you were a kid where you pressed pause, but then you press it again and it'd move it forward one frame?
Yeah. Or you push pause and you hit like fast forward and it goes into slow motion.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like that. I actually had to check whether I was watching this on slow motion.
And by the way, guys,
so boring.
This whole card only timed in an hour and a half, and we said this off air for, so it felt like a New Japan show. It felt so much longer.
Yes, it did.
And I think goes to a lot of the dicking around in all these matches, getting crowd heat just 5 minutes before a lockup or anything. I think that totally is what it was. Plus, Lord Alfred Hayes will make anything seem 20 minutes longer than what it really is.
Oh, I love doing these shows with you, Travis.
Official result, Doink and Kamala.
Official result was Doink wins with the roll-up. But can I say, how fucking stupid did they make Kamala look? Pinning Doink the wrong way around. It's like, yeah, why would he even know to pin him the right way around? He's only been doing this 10 years, you know?
Can somebody, one of the listeners, or maybe you after this, fact check, is Cameron from the Funkadactyls related to Kamala somehow?
I will check that while we're recording this, but...
Does it make sense? If you think about it, she doesn't know how to fucking pin guys anyway. Ladies anyway. Same thing. She took the Kamala gimmick and carried the family name on. Yeah, I mean, but for the Kamala character, I guess it gets a pass because he was supposed to be like that. Like I said, that dumb dog doesn't know any better and lost without a manager or guidance. That's how they always, like when Kim Chi left, they brought in Slick, who tried to tame the beast, and then I guess Slick left, and then he was on his own, and then we saw this dumbass Kamala.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that, and I'd buy that if we hadn't seen him just pin people normally before. It's like you don't lose a manager and then suddenly fucking forget what you're doing, you know?
Sometimes, Matt, when you go back, and just to recap this match, when you go back and you watch any retro show, it's just amazing sometimes to look at how into a crowd was, way more than they had any right to be some matches, and this is one of them.
Yeah, it's, I don't know why. Maybe we were desperate, you know, but I'd have rather seen anyone else in this match against Doink. You know, just look at the card, look at the roster, sorry, that WWE had in '93, coming off of WrestleMania 9. You know, Mr. Perfect was on this card. Put him against Doink. Like I said in the last show, I believe we got it.
Yeah.
Before the technical glitch. They had a really good mini feud over a King of the Ring spot. Like, I would have loved to have seen Doink and Mr. Perfect go 10 minutes on this card. It would have been really good. You know? Put anyone in there. I don't care. Just not a 1993 Kamala. Sorry. Undertaker. Where the fuck's the Undertaker? Put the Undertaker versus Doink. It would have probably been a shit show. Mark Calloway wasn't a great wrestler in '93. He was still green and learning. As you can read in my book that will probably be out this year if I can ever get it done. But, cheap plug. Yeah, anyone. I don't care, Travis. Honestly, like, it's one of the matches that means nothing, but you're so annoyed by it because it could have meant something.
Call me crazy, put me in the loony bin. I would have liked to see Evil Doink versus Undertaker in a program at the time.
It would have been better than Giant Gonzalez versus Undertaker at
the
time.
Me in a program with the Undertaker's better than Giant Gonzalez, Matt. Come on.
And can I just say, from what we were talking about earlier, Travis, Crush was on this card, and Crush and Doink had just had a match. Hello.
Yeah.
You know what? Why are you not? You know this is going to be televised. Why are you not giving us the feuds that we've just seen at WrestleMania? We got WrestleMania live on Sky Sports over here. You know, we're not fucking that much in the dark times in England in 1993. We saw it. So why not give us an extension of WrestleMania? I know it was crap, but at least this show would have meant something had it been a WrestleMania fallout. You know, Shawn Michaels could have defended the title against anyone in on this show in '93. I don't care. Bring back Paul Roma. Bring back Bret Hart. Have a dejected Bret Hart challenge Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental title on this show. It doesn't matter. Just make it fucking make sense.
Hell, I would have even accepted Bob Backlund against Shawn Michaels at this point.
I think they did that at some point, and it wasn't too bad. I think it was on one of the Coliseum home videos, and it was quite a good match. So yeah, throw Backlund in there.
Well, it had to be
We'll get
better
to
than Bob
Backlund
Backlund and Damian Demento, but we'll get to that. Was it time to just strap on the Lord Alfred Hayes jacket now, Matt? Are we there yet?
Do you know what? It probably was, but I haven't written his promos down. I know there was a Mr. Perfect interview with Lord Alfred Hayes after Doink Kamala. I know it was terrible.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, do you know what, Travis? I'd usually write all the interviews down and what they were about. I've just put Mr. Perfect interview before is just bad, because even Kurt Hennig couldn't salvage this monstrosity. It didn't make sense. It was just like, you know what you're going to get out there, you know, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Let's fill a minute and a half. Let's make the fucking show even longer by filling it with promos that don't make sense.
I think you can go back to the annals, the history of wrestling, and promos always come off so much better when the guy cutting it wants to be there. Mr. Perfect didn't want to be there at all, you could tell.
No, I think Kurt Hennig got a huge payday for this. And, you know, he got promised, I think this was probably the longest match of the entire night. You know, he got promised us a long spotlight, a big payday, and maybe that his feud with Luger would go somewhere at the end of the show. And he took it, but let's be honest, couldn't have looked more disinterested.
Yep, pretty much. I can't remember one line of. He had like 2 promos on the show, and they were that unforgettable that nothing. You know what I mean? Just nothing. And this was to build up a match against head shrinker Samu, which goes back to the point earlier. What? What? But that's the match.
Yeah, that's the match. And correct me if I'm wrong, Travis. Head shrinkers weren't at WrestleMania. Am I right?
They lost to the Steiners in the best match of WrestleMania 9.
Why did I forget that? And you know what? Not only why did I forget that, where the fuck were the Steiners as well?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like the list of guys that we're going to keep saying, why aren't they on here, is going to be endless, because this show is just abysmal.
It is abysmal. I would have loved to have seen Nasty Boys and the Steiners versus the Head Shrinkers and Money Inc. on this card. That would have been so much better.
Yeah, definitely. And it is the Mr. Perfect Samu match now, right?
Yeah, it is
Okay.
Mr. Perfect
Samu.
match.
I have a special place in my heart for Samu. Not to dox myself too much, but the local wrestling school around here, he's actually, for decades, helped the guy around here, the local promoter, with it. He's always been local in my area. He's very community-driven. He's a great guy. I've met Samu. He's awesome. And it was nice to see him get a singles match in this time. For me, you know, just being biased on it, maybe I went into it a little more positive than you, because it was nice to see my friend out there, you know. But I didn't think they had a bad match. I think, obviously, it stood out in this card probably a lot better than it really was. They gave him, 13 minutes?
13 and a half minutes. And I was fine with this match at the beginning. Like, the first 5-ish minutes, it was, you know, much faster than we'd seen, which was a relief. And you could tell, Travis, you could tell this was better than what had been in the first 5 minutes, because, you know, it was fast, it was slick. But then I feel like it just ground to a halt, you know. And I'm not taking anything away from Samu or Hennig or, you know, head shrinkers, you know, were like Doink when I was a kid. They were fucking terrifying to a 6-year-old's eyes. It's like, but, and can I just say, by the way, because we might not ever get another chance to get this in, Head Shrinkers versus the Quebecers on Raw in '94 for the tag titles. Go back and watch it, because it is an amazingly good tag team match. But yeah, this ground to a halt for me in the middle. Mr. Perfect, he looked fragile is the word. I know Kurt Hennig's back wasn't in the best condition. I don't know. If he wasn't in pain or wasn't having difficulty with his back, Kurt Hennig, there was certainly something, because he did look fragile when he was throwing Samu around the ring. You know? And I think that helped it so crawl. And honestly, Samu, how many headbutts can you throw in one match before it becomes a concussion incident?
The Mr. Perfect back thing, I've always taken with a grain of salt. He was also best friends with Rick Rude, who, quote, had the career-ending back injury with Sting in WCW. Turns out years later, if you do research, it seems like Rick Rude, from all accounts, was trying to scam, like a lot of guys at the time, the Lloyds of London insurance people, because a lot of the workers at the time had the Lloyds of London account.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I've read this in Mick Foley's book. I've heard it in numerous things, and they're best friends. And Mr. Perfect worked up until the day he died in 2003. So a lot of that's kind of
yeah. I mean, I'm sure the cocaine helped to
the
get
cocaine
into
always
the day,
helps.
but
That's true.
that's a man who sounds like he's speaking from experience.
No, I'm just saying, from my viewing eyes, it seems like from your Davey Boy matches and your Kerry Von Erichs, the cocaine always adds a little bit of something. No, but hell, all the Shawn Michaels 98 career was cocaine fueled, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But I've always kind of iffy on
98?
that.
You joke, 95 at least to 98. Shawn Michaels' career was cocaine fueled.
Well, that's true. Silly me. But the match.
Somas, cocaine, and yeah, go on.
No, I was trying to get off the drugs and talk about the match. I feel like the match, it was okay. It told an okay story. Maybe, like you said, I do agree, they did go a little overboard sometimes with the headbutt spots. Yes, I get it. It's their gimmick, but it kind of negates the strength of your headbutt if you have to do it 27 times in a match. You know what I mean? At least when JYD, God bless him, rest his soul, he wasn't the best worker, but he only sporadically did his headbutts in a match, and they meant something in a JYD match.
Yeah, they did. They did. And this match, Travis, had this been 8 minutes instead of 13 and a half, because don't forget, we'd already had two really dull matches, and even though they were less than 10 minutes each, it already felt like we'd been watching an hour. So I can't imagine how the people in the Sheffield Arena felt. So, you know, to have this go and go and go and seemingly have no end in sight after 10 minutes, I think it had got a better reaction and been probably regarded better, you know, if it had gone 8 instead of 13. They could have packed a lot more in instead of having to drag what they had out.
Yeah, and all the 13-minute build-up led to what? Samu missing a second rope headbutt, and then perfect capitalizing, hitting a perfect plex for the Duke in the win, right?
Yep, that was it. That was the match. And, do you know what? Even though it slowed to crawl, it was over long, it was still the best match on the card, because what we've got next, Travis, is,
well, Matt, the listeners are dying to hear. What do we have next?
We have Bob Backlund versus Damien Demento in maybe the most boring piece of shit I've ever seen in my life.
I have actually seen this match before. I've watched it on YouTube, just falling down the rabbit hole like Bob Backlund matches. 10 minutes of boredom, terrible gimmicks, howdy-doody Backlund, all rolled into one. It was the shits. Damien Demento, Bob Backlund, a match nobody in the history of time had ever yearned to see or asked for happened. I never got why they even had Damien Demento in. Now, okay, on paper, yes, the character's stupid beyond stupid, blah, 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 but it's the era of stupid. It's the era of hokey. At least bring him in for some sort of angle with Taker, but no, Taker beat him on the first episode of Raw months before this, so that's already over. You've already squashed Damien Demento in January. If he's a jobber, then why is he wrestling a former champion for 10 fucking minutes?
Yeah, agreed. Agreed, and I don't know. That, strangely, Travis, like, even though I agree with all that, it still wasn't what stood out to me or got on my nerves about this match.
Was it the horns in the audience?
It wasn't the horns in the audience. It was Jim Ross on commentary calling him Bobby Backlund.
Jesus Christ. Thank you. For every fucking match that Bob Backlund had in 93, he was Bobby Backlund. Nobody's ever called him Bobby before or since, but this time it was Bobby. What the hell?
And why does Damien Demento sound like Matt Hardy when he talks?
Oh God,
Like,
so right.
did you get that when he was outside the ring and he was just staring into midair, and it was like he said, I can't remember what he said, but it sounded like Matt Hardy provided the voiceover. Like, WWE Network lost the fucking audio for that second and thought, just drag Matt Hardy in. He's in the studio doing something today to provide voiceover. It was horrible.
You hear that,
Honestly,
Shane Helms? We figured out your boy Matt Hardy. We figured out his tricks, who he ripped off. We're coming for him.
Yes. How fucking fat has Shane Helms got, by the way? Have you seen him on that Sorry to detract from the show a minute. Jump on the Shane Helms hate train a sec. Have you seen him on WWE 24, the Hardys documentary?
I have.
Dear God Almighty!
I will say this, and you probably don't know this. In America, we have malt liquor, 40 ounces, and one of the brands is called Hurricane. So I'm pretty sure he was sponsored by them, and they all went right to his Hurrabelly.
Fucking hell! Like, I thought he was large at the Royal Rumble this year, but then this. Either he's had a serious cocaine addiction and he's given it up and piled on the pounds through food to replace it, or he just really likes his cake and pies, and it's like he's given up with life. Like, no one's booking me properly now. I fucking just eat what I want.
And you know what's sad but true? Shane Helms' diet plan and regimen is more interesting than this match. And I'd rather talk about Shane Helms' diet than 2 more seconds of this boring, chain wrestling, Vern Gagne-style match. If any wrestler screamed to me to go out there and work like Vern Gagne, it's Damien Demento. Hell, Dead Ringer. Woof. Woof, woof, woof. Call out the puppies in the puppy pound. The match clocked in at 10 minutes. Bob Backlund getting the win. Thank God it's over.
Yeah, and woof is the best way to describe this match.
I'd rather watch a best of Paul Roma 3-disc DVD than 2 more seconds of this match.
I'd rather talk to Shane Helms on Twitter for an hour than watch this match ever again.
Ooh. I'd rather get a colonoscopy than talk to Shane Helms on Twitter for 5 minutes, so there you go.
Well, stand back. The Hurricane's coming through the fucking floor with his weight. Now, shall we move on to the next...
Yes, let us spread our wings and take flight. And where do we land next on this lovely mountaintop nesting of UK Rampage?
Well, WWF kindly realised that we'd had a lot of shit on this card, and so they took us back to the guiding light of this programme, Lord Alfred Hayes, who was with Mr. Perfect yet again for another shitty promo, which I did actually I did write down. Basically, the gist of this promo was getting back into the feud with Lex Luger. Perfect wanted Luger. And you know, he said something fucking weird, Travis, that I've not been able to stop going over in my head for a while. He says he'll be looking for Lex Luger on the rest of the tour, but then says he'll be wrestling tonight. Well, just go and fucking get him then. That unneeded you've just wasted 2 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. It's like, I'll be looking for him on the rest of the tour. He's in the ring in about 40 minutes, son. You know, get your ass through the curtain. It's there. Give us something we want to say, for Christ's sake.
It's basically like a year later when they had Leslie Nielsen searching for The Undertaker and he was a schmuck. Same thing.
Yeah. I love that.
Where is Wes? Oh, he's out in the fucking ring, you moron.
God rest your soul, Kurt.
Not to mention, 15 minutes later, we'll cut a promo in the exact same interview area. You just cut a promo, but I can't find him.
Yes.
Jesus. You're so right. Didn't even think about that, but you've opened my eyes.
Well, I like to enlighten at least once every week, Travis.
By the way, I've never
like
heard Kurt Hennig cut a promo that was more in slow motion than this promo about how tough of a competitor Samu is. Did he say that line 36 times in this promo?
Yeah, I think the cocaine had worn off and he was on a downer. He needed a quick top up to get him through this.
He needed to get a couple somas in for his run in later.
It's lucky no one important listens to this podcast, isn't it? Otherwise, we'd have a massive lawsuit on our hands. Speaking
of no one important, is it ready for our next main event anywhere in the country type matchup, Matt?
It is. And strap yourselves in, everyone.
Buckle in. Are you ready for this? I bet Matt can't announce this match without laughing.
I'm not even able to start it now you've done that. Straight face.
All right,
Typhoon versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Whoop, whoop.
Typhoon versus the Brooklyn Brawler. No, okay. Superstars, any match, squash match. On paper, that's it. Snap your fingers, immediate squash match. Not in Sheffield, England. Stand back Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. What did this clock in at, Matt?
I have no idea, but I am believing. I've got written down here about just short 11 minutes.
11 minutes of Typhoon in the Brooklyn Brawler. I have officially died, and this is hell. Holy shit!
And I don't have anything to add to that because
No. And by the way, I've got plenty to add, because then we got to talk about the match. The fucking match. Let's say you go to wrestling school. Oh, you're a big 400-pound guy. Your friends come, hey, man, you need to go to wrestling school. You're a monster. Okay, you go to wrestling school. What do they drill in to every monster, quote, big man in wrestling school? Never go off your fucking feet. What did Typhoon do in this whole match? Stayed off his feet! The Brooklyn Brawler controlled the match!
Yeah.
What? The Brooklyn, okay, this is not the Narcissist, then maybe you get a pass. The Brooklyn, say it with me, fucking Brawler controlled the match. I'm throwing my pen down, Matt, take it. I got nothing.
Oh dear. Whew, let me just regain my composure a second.
I'm trying to regain it. God damn it, I'm trying to regain my composure. You fans, though, in the arena, loved it. Every second. The horns were blazing. The fans were on their feet. There were "Let's Go Typhoon" chants. Man, you guys were hooked. And God bless the UK fans for that. And I really mean that. God bless you guys for sticking with this match. Because I took a shit. I flat out got up and took a poop. I couldn't do it. You know how on the network, on matches on demand, it's like a CD. You can skip to the end of the song. I did that for this.
Yeah.
I saw the time of the match and said, nope. I've done some crazy things in my 3-year podcasting career, but not this time. You're not going to get me, Vinnie Mac, and I skipped that match. Official result, Matt.
Official result after many, many chin locks, which will be a theme of this show, by the way, Travis. Typhoon wins with just a power slam. Just saves watching this, but no. Typhoon wins with a power slam. We've all lost the will to live by this point. So who do we go back to? Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh, Lord Alfred Hayes again. After, by the way, that another shitty segment of the music video with the music, it's Lord Alfred. Who's he got with him this time, Matt?
He's got the charismatic. He's got the charismatic Lex Luger. Oh God.
Oh.
And can I just say, I like to call this period in Lex Luger's career the "what the fuck have I done with my life" period. Because he's standing there in his silvery foily cape and his Mr. fucking Universe pants, and he looks ridiculous. Love the character. It's one of the standout characters of my childhood, obviously, because it's what we had. But looking back on it now, how fucking stupid did he look? Oh my God.
I think now after this, they need to rename the competition Mr. Fucking Universe also. Just Mr. Universe. No, you're right. And Lex Luger, not a bus or an American flag in sight. Right before that, the Machine was not fully behind Lex yet, like they were with the Lex Express. No. And you see here why. You see here a prime example why. When the Machine got behind Lex and they wanted to make him the next Terry Bollea, it never worked because the man could never cut a promo. And this is a prime example of one of the worst Lex Luger promos I've ever seen. And just the way by the end of this promo, came off like a school kid. The way he delivered the line of, "Mr. Perfect, I'll have somebody in my corner too." What the fuck? That was creepy. I'm sorry, Lex. That was so creepy. Especially the hair didn't help it being creepy. I'm just saying. I know it was 93, but woof. Another puppy pound segment. Woof, woof, woof.
Woof, woof, woof. And again, Lord Alfred Hayes just looking lost. It was like, honestly, I felt like he'd just come out of a home, like looking for this carer to take him back. It was like, have I done now?
He probably threw it back to Gorilla and thought it was Saturday Night Main Event taping again. On paper, even in the darkest of storms, if you're out to sea, if you're in a cave, there's always that glimmering, beacon of light. Maybe you see a light come through the cave and there's sunlight. It seemed like maybe this match would be that for this show, Matt. The next match.
Yes, and it was. This was, and honestly, I never thought I'd say this about a match that involved Crush. This was the match of the night. Intercontinental Championship match. Shawn Michaels versus Crush. Yeah, it was honestly, I really like this. Why are we saying that about a Crush match especially a '93 Crush match?
Because we're insane. No, this was better. They would have the rematch, or not really a rematch, because if it didn't happen in America, it didn't happen at the time. But they would have the match at King of the Ring, and I thought this match was better than their King of the Ring match, honestly.
Yeah, it went shorter as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? And honestly, I think it was like the Mr. Perfect Samu match. It was the match of the night because of what it was surrounded by. Their match at King of the Ring didn't really stand out because Bret Hart was the star of that night. Undoubtedly.
Yep.
3 different matches in one night. Wow. And so this didn't get probably a fair look in at King of the Ring.
Three matches in one night at King of the Ring, but not even a vignette or a promo on the show.
Yeah. Maybe he was saving himself for King of the Ring by not bothering to appear here.
He was like hibernating for that big night at King of the Ring. No, but I do remember, a specific spot. There was a nice DDT from Michaels to Crush. The Crush took well. I was surprised in this match. Official results, Shawn Michaels doing the tried and true, what they love to do at the time. I was fine with it, I guess. That's what a heel's supposed to do, just running away, chicken shit heel. It was an easy out. Neither guy, came off weak. Crush would get his heat back, getting that. I always love Crush's tilt-a-world backbreaker, by the way. It's always been a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know why. I just loved how the guy delivered it, and he nailed it on Shawn, beat the shit out of Shawn, drug him back to the ring. I sent the fans home happy, but Crush still looked like an idiot because you didn't win the title. Why are you celebrating? But
can I just say, you wouldn't have known whether Crush won the title to listen to Jim Ross or Bobby Heenan, who didn't really seem to know what was happening. Like, has the title changed hands, JR? I'm not sure, Bobby. No, it's all right, Jim. You've only been commentating for nearly 15 years before, but you're not sure whether a title's changed hands on a disqualification.
Bobby got me to pop in this match on commentary when Crush got counted out or whatever. He was just going to Jim Ross going, define stupid, define moron. It was great. I love Bobby. Rest in peace.
Define stupid. The booking of this card.
Yeah. Just a result though, that was Shawn Michaels retains by DQ. What's on tap next, Matt?
Next we had. It wasn't Alfred Hayes, so I thought we could probably breathe easy, Travis. Next, we had Bobby Heenan interviewing Yokozuna, and could have been a drunk Mr. Fuji. I have no idea. In the ring. What? Honestly, I don't remember. And honestly, because I watched this last week, I don't remember if I really understood one word Mr. Fuji was saying. It was just like Bobby Heenan put a live microphone in front of him and he just garbled in half Japanese, a tiny bit of English, maybe some Samoan as well. And he went on and on and on.
Yeah, my Yokozuna. He was always his Yokozuna too in a Fuji. My Yokozuna every fucking time. And it was Yoko just nodding, going, yeah. Like, at every word, it was weird to see Yoko just being a yes man, I guess. But Bobby tried to salvage it, like you said. Thank God. And it was brilliant to bring in Jim Cornette for a spokesperson for Yoko, because obviously
it was.
Cut it.
And they talked in this promo. Well, I say they talked. Bobby Heenan talked about Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Yokozuna, who were, of course, in a tiny bit of a feud, because Yokozuna had that famous angle on Superstars, I think it was, where he just kept hitting him with the Banzai drop, and Duggan bled from the mouth and was carried out on a stretcher.
And it drove the man Jim Duggan to wear a singlet after that match.
He was so serious, he had to put some clothes on. Bobby Heenan kept talking about, when Yokozuna and Hacksaw Jim Duggan fight, but the crowd in the arena had already seen them fight in the dark match before the show went on air. So everyone must have been sitting there thinking, what fuck are you talking about?
They've always done that at tapings where I always watch it back. I'm like, how confused must this crowd be right now? You know,
Yeah.
even like old Raw when Raw would be taped every other week. You know.
Yeah.
But the
Yep.
segment, what really
And
came out of it, Matt? I mean, they talked some about how Hulk Hogan wasn't the real champion. I mean, the man just lost the belt, got quote screwed for the belt. But my focal point would be Jim Duggan too, I guess.
yeah, and honestly, this interview was to set up the main event of the night, and obviously the big, schmoz that would come at the end, because Yokozuna would stay at ringside. And can I just say, I've heard a lot of detractors of Yokozuna over the years, but you can all go and fuck yourselves, because for a man his size, he was a very, very good wrestler. Not the greatest wrestler, a very good wrestler for a man of his size.
I never ever got the contrary hate to his ring work over the years. You saw that thing on Twitter a couple weeks ago when he was Coquina or whatever, when he first came in, that untelevised match where he killed that jobber. But the agility of the man was, my God.
Yeah, and it's just a shame that the weight loss spiraled out of control in the end, and he died in his early 30s, did he not?
Mm-hmm. And these same people, I see it all the time, and they throw Yoko under the bus for his work rate. They'll praise Bam Bam Bigelow for being a guy. I mean, basically, they're kind of the same thing, except for a moonsault,
Yeah, and same with Vader. He was a man of bigger size, God bless him. But I think wrestlers who are a certain size get a bad rep just instantly because they look the way they do. People look at them and go, oh, well, they could move a bit, but they surely weren't as good as... And you know what? It's fucking new fans saying this, Travis. It's like, I don't hear fans of, nearly 3 decades like us saying stuff like this. It's all people who come in who love Cena and Lesnar. And it's like, people in that era couldn't move like that. Never fucking gone back and watched it, but...
They'll watch a highlight or a vignette or a promo package, and then
they'll watch a Yokozuna leg drop and go, "Oh, there's no way he could move like a cruiserweight." But do you know what? Yokozuna could fucking move.
Yep, undeniably. And speaking of move, let's move the train along on the show. We run out of time this week. Where are we at next, Matt?
We are at the main event. Thank Christ. Jim Duggan versus the narcissist Lex Luger. Yokozuna stayed at ringside for this, predictably bringing on a clash with Duggan. This was, a match for the sake of the finale, I think, wasn't it? For the sake of, bringing Duggan and Yokozuna together on camera instead of off of it. And that was it for me. I did slightly feel like there's no Bulldog. Let's throw an American Patriot on, that will do them.
Which on paper makes no fucking sense. Every time Duggan would come over here, you guys would chant USA in full unit. And we talked about it before, but I still don't get it. That would never work today. It would never work in England today.
Nope. But then fans have moved on, and fans are savvier, they're cleverer now than they were back then. We were just happy. He was the American Bulldog, if anything. Patriotic wise. So, Vince just thought, he'll do.
And you're totally right. This match was nothing. It was a throwaway match. All this match was meant to do was a catalyst to tie the 2 angles with the 4 top guys on this card by the end of it.
Yeah, it was. Because this ended in a big old brawl. Yokozuna, Duggan, perfect round it. Finally found Lex Luger after all of his searching in the fucking ring. He found him. In he comes.
Used a GPS or Google Earth or something, I guess, but he finally found him.
Found him, smacked off his tits, clearly, Mr. Perfect. He'd taken something between, going back and coming out. And it's just ended in a big fight. Luger and Yokozuna naturally running away. And Perfect and Duggan celebrating the ring. And that's the match.
Yokozuna
and possibly, Travis, the most exciting angle on the whole show.
Without a doubt. And the show ended with Yokozuna acting like a scared schoolgirl running from a mouse with Duggan with the board. And that was, you went off the air with that.
What a way to bury a talent. You have him lose in seconds to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, and then you have him run from a fat, bearded lumberjack.
I was just happy that they just faded the black after this, and they didn't cut again to that fucking music video. They just ended the show. Thank God. Matt, holy shit, we did it. We have dreaded reviewing this, but we did it, man.
Well, you can catch me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can find all of our stuff merchandise-wise. There'll be a lot added. unionsmack.bigcartel.com. Hibiki TND shirts come in mid-July. Thank you to Rocky for that.